Hey everyone, this is Amanda Sharp with Unapologetically You, where I interview people around my book and personal development. And really, I pick some of the coolest people, most inspiring stories that I've met along the way in the personal development rooms as a photographer. So today, I'm so excited. I want all of my friends to be introduced to this phenomenal woman. Her name's Crystal Raye. Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, I'm so excited. I've wanted to since I met you. So today we're going to talk about like what personal development has done for you, Crystal, but also I'd love for you to like incorporate a little bit of your story, and just so thankful you have chosen into life, girl. Like truly honored.
Well,
So
thank you very much.
yeah, so why don't you talk about or just start. You've done this a
All
lot.
right. So I have had a phenomenal 2024, and I met you in January. It's now December. And in January, I had been sharing my story of my survival and recovery of my 80% total body area burn injury, and really getting deep with my own personal development journey and figuring out life after this injury. So a little bit about me is I'm a 80% total body area flammable liquid burn survivor. And this happened after a drug relapse and a mental health crisis. And so I did this to myself, and that in itself, to be able to say those words without crying, is a big growth.
That's awesome.
And I wouldn't be as confident to talk about it if I didn't have you and all our people and this community of support behind me to really, help me to live out this mission. And like I tell people and like ask myself daily, what my mission is: to demonstrate daily with the right environment, tools, direction, and support, anyone can live an awesome life. And that, once I got that, my like why came into place pretty quickly.
Yeah, everything lines up.
Right. And I just, personal development, I didn't even understand, like self-help on a whole nother level.
Yeah. Which little things should we work on today?
Right.
So
And
much to unpack. So much
it
to unpack.
is. And I wanted to touch on like your book took me a little while to get. I haven't finished it completely, but I almost am. And like it's red, girl. It's red. It's dog-eared. It's highlighted. I have done that, like the pondering, the action steps at the end and stuff. And
Yeah.
been fun to do with my spouse too. I'm like, oh, this is what this says. We're gonna watch this movie. He's like, you're gonna watch a movie?
I
I'm like,
love
yeah.
it.
Because I don't watch TV, but
I
like
don't
these
either.
action steps have like made me sit down and like watch whole movies and like pay attention to them.
Yeah.
Because usually I'm like, I sit in the chair and I think, do I have dishes to do? Do I have laundry to fold? I have something else I could be doing. This is not productive.
Don't you think that's a little bit around protecting your mental space and your spiritual and your space? So like I don't just watch anything. I don't just listen to anything. I don't want to be infiltrated by all the world and what they're doing. And
Right.
it's a huge reason why I can stay in a positive place.
I feel the same way. So I really never understood why I didn't watch TV until I started doing personal development.
Mm-hmm.
But what goes in comes out. And so then when I really understood that, I'm like, okay, I'm definitely going to be very mindful about what I watch, what I listen to, what I eat, who I'm around, and who I'm listening to, whether that be friends, family, podcasts, books, whatever, and the TV.
Yeah.
And so I'm much more mindful of what surrounds me nowadays. And
Yeah.
it's that exactly what you said. It keeps my mental health better.
Yeah. And if you're going to choose out of addiction and the death of the swirl of that, I've been married to addiction, then you have to put in place some boundaries that help you grow as fast as you can.
Right. And that's been difficult to really find that balance too, is like a lot of people want to say, well, you're making boundaries to avoid accountability for things, or to, like avoid things. Like, nope, I'm just protecting my own health and well-being.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't understand that, especially when they're not actively protecting their own health and well-being.
Sure. No, it's a person with no boundaries does not get it. And did you have people pleasing in your past?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So
And I
anytime.
still struggle with,
Oh,
like, am I
yeah.
doing this because I don't want to say no to somebody and I'm
Mhm.
afraid that they're going to be upset?
Yeah. Is this going to hurt our friendship? It's like, well, it's very hard because the people had full access to you before, but with all of their turmoil and toxicity, instead of like just a good clean relationship, that because you can't go in all these interviews and fillet your heart and soul even for 30 minutes and not have something that's filling you back up. Like, no, the enemy's like, oh cool, you're tired, let's
Yeah.
rock this out. Let's get you when you're tired. It's perfect.
And that, when you said fillet your heart, that's another thing. Every time you were talking about going under the scalpel with God, I'm like, oh.
Not a great reference.
Oh, but it got the point across, because
Yeah.
it hit me home. Hit home for me because I've been under the scalpel 30 times.
Yeah.
And
Interesting.
I'm like, those are, people think once you've reached that many, it's just easy to do it. And I really think about whether or not I'm going to wake up the next time.
Yeah.
And the effects of all of the drugs and all the anesthesia on my brain that many times.
Yeah.
And so, like, it hit home for me. I'm like, under the scalpel, oh, this is going to be good. So I found myself, like, resisting almost reading the chapter. I'm like, because I don't want to read it and then not do the action steps. And
Oh, funny. Yeah, it's not easy topics. It's not. Like, I did a book club group with my book one time, and I did like 3 pages a week. That's what I had to do because no one could like dive in that deep quickly. I'm like, oh, well, this group's going to last a year and a half.
excuse me.
Mental note, don't do a book club group, you know? So I get it for sure. And it is something that convicts me, like my own writing convicts me. And I don't pick up my own book, you know, because it's like, shoot, I still haven't arrived in that area. Great, which will never happen. It's fine.
And you openly share about that too. And I'm like, oh, like, reading your book gave me so much more, like, confidence to just be myself and like walk to the beat of my own drum and take the next right step.
I love that. I heard you say that on a call the other day. It's like, geez, that simplifies it.
And
Just
even
the
though
next right step.
even though I can't see the whole past, because that's just been what this year has been, is like, I don't know what you have in store for me today, Lord, but let's go.
Yeah. Someone told me probably like 10 years ago, and I've never really caught it in the scripture of it will light he will be a light unto your feet on the path, which only means about 10 inches. So if you want more than that, good luck. And if you do have the relationship where you fully trust him, then it's like it's an epic freaking journey. And it's scary, it's all the things, it's ego busting, it's everything, but I don't think you or I will ever regret putting ourselves fully out there, because if it helps one person, and that person probably is most likely ourselves, if it helps us live an extraordinary life and also helps others, then it's totally worth my time.
Absolutely. And that brings up this, like, when I first started, and what I've told myself from the beginning was this was a therapeutic outlet for me to learn, get my words about my my narrative of what happened, and
Mm-hmm.
to actually come to terms myself with what happened. And if it helped one person, wonderful. But it's going to help. Bottom line, it's going to be healthy for me.
Yeah. Yeah,
And
and that narrative is everything.
yeah, right. And like, I have had family members since I started sharing my journey reach out to me. I've had family members specifically tell me there are things you're leaving out. I'm like, well, would you like the opportunity to share your perspective and
Yeah.
your side of the story? Let's go live.
Oh man.
They don't want to do that.
Interesting, because when I was facilitating a women's conference, I had a friend go through. She had stopped talking to me for a while and I couldn't figure out why. And she's like, the stories you told from the front were lies. That's not actually what happened. And I finally got on a call, to have that conversation and figure out what was going on between us. And it was like, girl, I've rewritten that piece 70 times because I was married to an alcoholic and our story changed weekly. And so, yes, I understand that you're caught on the detail of that actually happened before the wedding or after or whatever. But she kind of was labeling me as a liar. And I was just like, damn, dude, that's pretty harsh. It made me really realize how important it was to not go into faux story as you're trying to creatively write it, which
Mhm.
I very much say in the first pages of this, like, if you don't like liars, don't read my book, because I'm a comedian and I'm going to expound on the details and make it more readable. But that was interesting. So I can relate to that. That's funny. Jump on
Well,
the side and tell your side.
right. And like, would you like to? I'll give you the opportunity to, let's hop on. And they don't want to do that.
Yeah.
But
Good. Yeah.
I have listened. It has opened up, like, starting to share my story online and publicly, and like really being focused on who I want to help, but
Mm-hmm.
knowing that, like, my kids are watching and my family is watching, even though they're
Sure.
not commenting and they're not, all watching every single thing I do. I have a better, like, my phone's open, and I've had people reach out to me and talk to me from my family that hadn't seen me since my fire or had only seen me in the hospital.
Okay.
And like, check up on me. and really have a coherent conversation with me. And that in itself was like, wow, like I was able to just talk about it, talk about what I'm doing, and really be like, okay, well, I gotta go now.
Yeah.
And it still feel like we were both heard and respected on the phone call with whatever we were talking about. And it has given me more confidence to tell the people in my family when I'm uncomfortable talking about something, saying that I'm really uncomfortable talking about this and I'd like to change the subject.
Yeah. That's
And
boundaries.
they're like, wow, okay. Without me going like saying anything blaming or like
Yeah.
freaking out or like taking it personally
I
or
don't
even
trust
having,
you.
yeah, like any kind of emotion, just like that's not something I really want to talk about right now. Can we change
Yeah.
the subject?
Which I think makes you an incredibly safe person when you have boundaries like that, because people just learn and know that you're going to be insanely kind and honest. And so then they don't have to live in this box. They can live their full life. And you can have these honest conversations about, hey, I'm just not feeling it today. Like, I want to be shallow as hell.
Mm-hmm.
I want to dance, or I just want to have fun and laugh uncontrollably. I don't want to be serious right now. And I love that. I love that you've figured that out. Um, I know, like, do you want to go a little bit more into like your story of just what it takes to rise from that kind of self-hatred? Or is that even a descriptive word for it?
That's a good description for it.
Okay.
Self-sabotage. I just, yeah, like, so I touched on this was a suicide attempt. This had been the third time in my lifetime that I had been hospitalized for a suicide attempt.
Okay.
So this would like when I was 12 and when I was in my 30s and then when I was 36. And two of the times my kids are old enough to remember. And so waking up in the hospital and looking at my kids beside my hospital bed
Mm-hmm.
um, was difficult to like seeing that heartbreak in their eyes and then just knowing that I caused that
Mm-hmm.
was mom guilt. I still have mom guilt behind it, but
Yeah.
um, then I woke up in the hospital and I was angry. I was happy that all my family was there to be supportive at that moment, but
Mm-hmm.
I didn't really comprehend that they were there to say their goodbyes.
Okay.
And my oldest son was my next of kin while I was in the hospital, and he was 20 years old. And so that's a lot to put on a 20-year-old.
Mm-hmm.
And I was in the hospital for 5.5 months. And so because I was not coherent and I was in a coma for 3 months. And this moment that I'm talking about that I woke up and they were beside my bed was they had woke me up from a 3 month being drug induced coma for 3 weeks. The first 3 weeks and my family had all come, my brother and my cousins, my aunts and uncles, my grandma, my mother, and my kids had all come to see me because they did not expect me to live through the next 72 hours.
Okay.
And that was 3 weeks in. And then I was touch and go for 6 more weeks. And I was in a coma for a drug induced coma for 3 months. So then when they started waking me up and I was just combative and hateful, I would tell people, why would you waste your time and resources on somebody that obviously didn't want to be here?
Right.
And my mom sat beside my bedside and heard all of these ugly things I would tell the nurses and the doctors and tell my mom. And so it was a long time. I continued to battle with my self-acceptance and self-love and worthiness
Mm-hmm.
for 3 more years after my fire. I was in the hospital for 5.5 months. I was released to my mom's house, and I was there for 5.5 months. And then I moved back to Alaska because I was being abusive with my mouth around my mom, and she had had enough of it in Alaska or in Montana. And
Yeah.
she bought me a ticket to go back to Alaska. And
Is that where you had your accident?
in Alaska is where I had my accident. Yeah.
Okay, so you had to be moved to Montana. That's a huge thing too.
Right. So they life flighted me from Alaska to Seattle in Washington. And my mom lives 12 hours away in Montana, a 12-hour drive away in Montana. And so she would drive back and forth, and she pretty much stayed in a hotel for 5.5 months while I was in the hospital in Seattle.
Wow. So now I understand the whole fight just for every human in the world to figure out that they're lovable, worthy, all that stuff. But now you've added 80% body burns, and now how did you find your purpose and get the passion to really live? Because would you say now you're really living?
Yeah, I would.
It's pretty awesome.
I live a life now that I like. I often ask Riv, pinch me. Am I still in a coma? I'm still in a coma. I'm gonna wake up and hooked up tubes. And
You're like, I completely tried to end me, and now I'm living my dream life.
my best life after this injury, and I don't have to hide how it happened. I don't have
Mm-hmm.
to share any more than I want to share when I want to.
Yeah.
And it has definitely. So I haven't shared this a lot, but the moment I lit the lighter, the Lord told me, Crystal, you don't get to choose. Now you're going to be in a lot more pain.
Now your body is gonna hurt a little bit.
Yeah.
Jesus.
And so
Oh
I
man.
remember that. And I was angry after I woke up, and I knew not to do that again.
Yeah.
And so a lot of people, after they're injured and they didn't do it to themselves, in my experience, they're suicidal after that. Like when you see your whole identity is different, your
Yeah.
whole appearance, and especially being a woman, like when you look at yourself in the mirror, you have no hair and your eyes are stitched shut, and you can't even tell where your mouth is.
Yeah.
It's a whole, yeah.
It's a
But
phenomenal human, and I'm glad you have God in there because to me that's the only reason. Truly in my life, and I can see it in yours since the same person. But just the hope that it's like, okay, it's that I don't know if it's a scripture or just a saying of like he's gonna make good of everything. And so, okay, you want to make that choice because we're not robots. He gave us free will, frickin' choice. So you choose that, and I'm going to make good of it. Do you want to have fun with this, or do you want to be miserable? And
absolutely.
you are and will be a world changer. Like, totally. And it's for his kingdom. And that's the coolest part about it is that it will be to his glory.
Absolutely. And I was given 5% chance to survive my injuries.
Yeah.
Other than my higher power had a higher purpose for me, I have no explanation to why I'm still here.
Yeah.
And just everything there was no running water. There was no cell phone service while we were it all perfectly happened how it had to happen. And a lot of people ask me, if you had it to do all over again, would you change anything? And I said, well, I try not to entertain those thoughts because I can't.
Yeah.
But no, I have a whole army of angels that hug me every day. The skin grafts that were donated to me to save my life. And I think about that when I wake up in the morning and look myself in the mirror and tell myself, I love you, Crystal.
Yeah.
And it costs a lot of money to look this good. Let's go show them how we do it.
Yeah. That's so amazing. It just kind of just shuts everyone up on the whole, whatever you think's wrong with you, because we all pick at our own selves and what we'd like to change. And it's like, dude, you're beautiful inside and out, and the beauty within is extraordinary.
And the amazing things that this vessel accomplishes, like just to breathe and function every day, is amazing. Like, this body is a gift, and we are a gift to this earth while we're here. So we might as well treat ourselves as such.
So what would you say if today was your last day and you wanted the whole world to hear one sentence?
Believe in yourself and anything is possible.
Nice.
I'm living proof of this.
I love it. I'm like truly honored to know you, and I'm so glad I was at that event that you were at in January, because I didn't go to all of them. So I will definitely have you post your link and stuff when I actually put this on my Facebook. And also when I bring it to YouTube, I'll definitely get it. But do you want to say verbally how people can find you?
Yeah. So all of my social media links, I have a link tree, and it's linktree/CRH Media.
Okay.
And you can follow me on TikTok and Facebook and YouTube and Instagram. But my YouTube channel is the Burn, the Broken, and the Beautiful Crystal Raye.
Okay. So all my peeps, this is why I'm even doing this interview, is I want you to know this phenomenal woman and follow her, because definitely a book's coming out of her soul.
Yes.
It should be quite the read.
So my book is
say
called...
I have good stories. I think you have a better story.
You have some really good stories.
What were you going to say?
The book is The Burn, the Broken, and the Beautiful, a memoir of me.
Okay.
And I'm really working hard to have the rough draft finished before the first of the year.
Oh, nice.
And I'm really ready for publishing by March. So
nice. You got it.
Those are some big goals for me.
It's huge. And I would say the one thing that stuck out when you were telling this story is that, well, one, secrets create shame. And for you to live completely wide open with no secrets is why you're thriving.
I agree.
The secrets and the shame are not good. So that's what personal development is about, is starting to work through the secrets and find out that a lot of people are going through the same thing. Like, we're really quite similar, all of us, and we're not that different. It's just different scenarios. So that's why we write, and that's why we create pieces of any kind of content that's forward moving in order to just really support people moving forward. So I have at the bottom of the screen how to get into my email campaign of encouragement and tools that I've learned over the last 20 years.
Check it out.
Also, you can get my book there. And thank you so much.
Thank you.
I'm so excited to introduce you to my peeps. Love you, girl.
Love you.